Nigeria's education minister seeks support for the sector. Somalian president inaugurates a new state palace. 11 children hospitalized after explosion at Sydney Primary School. Good afternoon and welcome to the World at Noon. I am Olushayo Babatunde. Nigerian Minister of Education Adamu has called on well-meaning Nigerians to support in the development of the education sector, as government alone cannot shoulder the responsibility of funding the sector. Adamu added that the promotion and sustenance of science and technology education are key. The minister, represented by the Director of Technology and Science in the Ministry, Grace Jacko, spoke at a function in Ado-Ekiti, explaining that the federal government has invested and is still investing heavily in both physical and infrastructural development in the technical education sector in the quest to make quality technical education available to Nigerian youth. It charged higher institutions to strategize and find ways of enhancing their revenue base to complement government funds, as he called on well-meaning individuals to assist in sponsoring projects and programs that will enhance effective teaching and learning. The president of Somalia, Hassan Mahmoud, along with Gamuk state leader Ahmed Abdi Kariye, have inaugurated a new presidential palace in Dasamor Red City. Galmudug State is located in central Somalia with about 420,000 residents. In his opening address, Mahmoud praised Galmudug leadership for the efforts to build the key installations and offices to deliver the service to the public, which is vital to Somalia. Mahmoud maintained that the implementation of such a project, the efforts to liberate the areas under Al-Shabaab, reflects the determination of Galmudug and its people. The president described the new presidential palace in Galmudug State as a historic step in the right direction and improving the future of the people. The inauguration was attended by ministers at the federal and regional levels, the vice president of Galmudug, and the speaker of the state parliament, under tight security. The Colombian government has announced that at least 18 people were killed in clashes between holdouts from the former rebel army FARC and another armed group linked to drug trafficking. The government's ombudsman office said the fighting occurred in southwest Colombia near the border with Ecuador. The report says the clashes involved rebels who have rejected a 2016 peace agreement that the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia (FARC) signed with the government and a criminal band that calls itself Comandos de la Frontera, or Border Commandos. The latter is composed of other fighters that used to be with FARC, a remnant of a right-wing paramilitary group allegedly to be active in trafficking cocaine to Ecuador and Brazil. The two groups have fought for control of smuggling routes in parts of the Putumayo border for at least 3 years. This is the World at Noon, coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Ile-Awije Okebale, Voice of the West, Nigeria. Now have me this message. You may not have been responsible for your heritage, but you are responsible for your future. Beware of what you do today. New Zealand's highest court has today ruled that the country's current voting age of 18 was discriminatory, forcing the parliament to discuss whether it should be lowered. The case, which has been going through the courts since 2020, was brought by advocacy group Make It 16, which wants the age lowered to include 16 and 17-year-olds. The Supreme Court found that the current voting age of 18 is inconsistent with the country's Bill of Rights, which gives people a right to be free from age discrimination when they have reached 16. The decision triggers a process in which the issue must come before Parliament for discussion and be reviewed by a parliamentary select committee, but it does not force Parliament to change the voting age. The group says on its website that there is insufficient justification to stop 16-year-olds from voting when they can drive, work full-time, and pay tax. The Minister of Infrastructure of Poland has disclosed that the European Commission may not support investments in broad gauge, which are necessary for uninterrupted freight traffic between Ukraine and Poland. The minister stated these during the opening of the 12th Railway Congress in Warsaw. The minister explained that currently the issue of connectivity is one of the key challenges for Poland and Ukraine in particular because of European standard tracks. He revealed that Poland's relations with Ukraine are good, expressing the hope that the relations will lead to intensive investments for which Ukraine is already preparing. He noted that the development of Polish infrastructure despite the pandemic and Russia's aggression against Ukraine is not slowing down. 11 children from a Sydney primary school have been taken to the hospital with burns after a school experiment went wrong. Australia Education Minister Sarah Mitchell said that 2 children are in a serious condition after a science experiment exploded at Manly West Public School in Sydney. Ambulance New Acting Superintendent Philip Templeman said it was meant to be a fairly routine science experiment, but the wind blew chemicals around, triggering a bigger reaction than expected. According to reports, one child was airlifted to hospital with serious injuries and another was taken to the hospital after sustaining serious burns, while 9 more students were in the hospital with superficial injuries. And here again are the highlights of the world at noon. The Nigerian Minister of Education Adamu has called on well-meaning Nigeria to support in the development of the education sector as government alone cannot show that the responsibility of funding the sector. The President of Somalia, Hassan Mahmoud, along with Galmudug State Leader Ahmed Adi Kariye, have inaugurated a new presidency palace in Dusamareb City. And 11 children from a Sydney primary school have been taken to the hospital with burns after a school experiment went wrong. That was the world at noon, put together by Nathaniel Oyegoke and delivered by Olushayo Babatunde. The factors that have been thwarting the conduct of credible and reliable population census since independence is the focus on News Talk today, now that the country is pushing for another head count next year. The piece is written by Adeboye Bukwola.
National Population Commission (NPC) Nasir Kwara brought to the public domain the budget of 532.7 billion naira for the national census fixed for April next year during the defense of the Commission's budget before the Senate Committee on National Population and Identity Management. According to the chairman of NPC, the amount would cover post-enumeration surveys across the country. The chairman assured of rewriting the history of the census in the country by making the 2023 head count not only accurate and credible but also reliable for wider acceptability by Nigerians. This assurance by the chairman of NPC, Mr. Nasir Kwara, is a statement that should be holistically deciphered in determining the justification of allocation of funds for population census in the country. It would be recalled that from the first population census held immediately after independence in 1964 till the last census held in 2006, none has given a credible results that justified the huge amount expended on each of the national schemes. Of a fact, the last head count produced the worst incredible statistics for the country's demography, hence its outright rejection by some states in the country. The brief analysis of the last population census produced a provisional results which put the total number of the people in all the northern states at 75 million and entire southern states at 65 million. Thus, in the world history, Nigeria became the first country by the 2006 census where the population of the arid region was more than the temperate region without any demographic facts that supported the claim. Another statistics which made the results of the 2006 census a mere projected fallacy is the lower female population figure of 68,293,083 against the male of 71,709,859. It is apposite to note that the periodic head count is so significant to the national development and equitable distribution of nation's wealth. The fact that the country has not been able to conduct accurate and reliable census at 62nd years of the country's nationhood accounts for retarded national growth and maladministration in all sectors. It is appalling and quite aberrant that all the programs and policies of government have been based on fictitious population projections ever since independence. It is not surprising, therefore, that there have been alarming failures from the economic, political, and educational sectors, a high level of imperfection in the treatment of national issues. This makes the huge money expended on conduct of the past population census a colossal loss. Now that the country is pushing for another population census, it is important to identify the factors that conspired against the past enumeration exercise in order to reverse from the past failure of policy somersault due to inaccurate database. It goes without saying that ethnic dogmatism and